The Raptors get a decisive win against the Washington Wizards. 102-90 is your final. Welcome to the Scotia Club inside Scotiabank Arena. I'm Randy Urban, and this is Raptors Night Cap. Tonight, we're joined by Sherman Hamilton, Jevohn Shepherd, and Paul Jones. What is your problem?
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, sure.
This guy's already started.
He's already started. All right, I'm going to start with you, Sherman,
Sure.
because you look like you just want to talk right away, which is...
Means I can eat now?
Yeah, you go. Just talk about how good the Raptors defense was tonight, Sherman.
Not just only tonight. I mean, even though they were losing some games, if you look at the defense they were playing, it was good. They just couldn't score. And they got good looks, but just weren't making shots. So now we're seeing over the last two games a little bit more offense, but that defense is still there. So to me, it's not the defense is good tonight. The defense has been good. They're just winning with their offense because they're making more shots, some of the same shots they were getting when they were losing, and now we're seeing it complement that defense because they're making shots. But specifically about their defense in general, they did a good job being active. They did a good job in terms of the multiple effort plays per possession on the defensive end. Their scrambling ability was good. Their active hands, I thought they were very connected on the defensive end, except for that third quarter. But overall, I think their commitment to the defensive side of the ball has been very good.
I thought, to Sherman's point, coming into this game, you looked at Washington as a good defensive team and looked at their metrics.
Yeah.
They were top 10 in opponents' points, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. But they were last in turnovers, which means, and you watch them play, they're not that kind of a gambling, get-after-you team. They contain, they contest, they rebound, and that's how they get their stop. So if you're able to execute and make shots, and then Washington came into this game, their last 4 losses had been by double figures. And so if you're the Raptors and you think, we execute early, play our defense, get out to a good lead on these guys, 10, 12, 14 points, that plants the seed of doubt. And they're like, man, we're down double figures again. That's exactly what happened through the duration of this game.
And I think to both their points, the defense was up. It's been up, and tonight they cut off the head of the snake, right? Scotty did a tremendous job of just really being there on the catch and on the dribble as soon as Bradley Beal had the basketball, right?
It was
and
quiet.
It was quiet. And then Gary Trent Jr. came in and did his part as well. But I think more importantly, the big part of that defense was the concerted group effort, right? Fred was there, Achua was there to shrink the floor and didn't let him see the light of day. So I thought that was exceptional right from the get-go.
Sure, and Pascal, I thought, was awesome tonight, 31 points. It's so good to see him decisive.
Well, yeah, and again, Pascal's game is about the fluidity. It's about movement. It's about that lightness, that quick footwork. And again, I thought Washington tried to defend him with smaller bodies, and he was able to get to his spots and shoot over the top. So he didn't complicate the game. He was very effective in terms of how he attacked. You look at that second quarter where he went 7 for 7 for 17 points. All the shots he took, he manufactured by putting the defender into a bad situation where he could get a shot off. So when Pascal's playing like that, you understand that he's got it going. What does Fred do? Everything goes through Pascal.
Your turn.
Just take it.
And he was purposeful, right? Like 12 free throw attempts tonight, up from his season average. And I think what I liked is that he was applying pressure. He was building inside out, right? Everything happened around the basket. And then Fred did a good job recognizing that as well. Anytime they ran that 1-4 screen, you would see Fred really bring it close to the three-point line so that when he rolled, he was rolling right into scoring position. So I thought that aggression and that recognition on both parts helped.
How close is he?
In general, what Pascal did kind of set the tone for the team.
Yeah.
Raptors normally average 33 three-point attempts per game. Hit 23 tonight. And what have we been lamenting? They don't get to the free throw line. They had 24, 25 free throw attempts tonight. And Chris Boucher was a guy that kind of symbolized that as well. 1 3-point attempt tonight. Had a double-figure scoring night off the bench. 1 3-point attempt. Scored a lot inside. Got to the free throw line. I thought the Raptors did a really good job of, as Sherm said and Jevohn talking about, just making it simple tonight.
Yeah.
You think Pascal was 8 for 13 in the first half. Only one of his 13 field goal attempts were a three-point shot.
Yeah.
So again, the leadership. You saw Freddie do it against Milwaukee with 26 in the second half. But you think about Pascal and a guy who they're going to need to score the basketball. If they want to win and they want to keep on winning, they're going to need him to score the basketball. I thought that first half was a good example of how Pascal can be effective, especially when teams try to junk it up on him.
He looked so much more confident in his moves and move conviction. I thought that, the team plays off of that as well because it gives everybody, invigorates everybody, and gives them confidence.
These two guys would know as offensive guys. I wouldn't know anything about it. But I'm watching.
You play defense?
Yeah. It was like.
I played defense.
I scored. You guys can talk all this stuff. I scored.
You can say these three guys. It's okay, Jonesy.
Well, then let me talk to all the offensive people up there.
Your jacket's too pretty to be included.
Hey, thank you.
When I look at,
I'll let you borrow it.
To the point about Pascal's rhythm,
Don't fit.
you could see that when he was taking stuff off the dribble, like that last dribble before bounding into a shot was definitive. And he knew, like he was raising with confidence. All of those little things fed into him having a good night. You could see it. He was taking guys, boom, slam dribble, bounce into it, driving his toes into the ground, getting up. Like, he was confident tonight.
Just had that much more pop.
Yes.
He had a pop to it.
Yes, he did.
You mentioned Boucher, and he came off the bench, obviously. Just, Sherman, what did you notice generally about the bench and their production tonight? Because I thought they were really good.
Well, you think about the first half, the bench had 21 points.
Yeah.
4 guys scored 5 points or more off the bench.
That's a game for them of late.
Absolutely. So when you think about how that happens, it's usually predicated off ball movement, right? When guys are driving and kicking and relocating and sharing the basketball. I thought the second group did a good job of that. And when you talk about Boucher having the game that he had, it was because of the ball movement. It wasn't because he was hunting shots or he was forcing shots up. He was taking advantage of his opportunities. And when that second unit plays like that, because it's a very good defensive second unit when they hit the floor, but when they share the basketball, I think they become so much more difficult to deal with.
We had Chris on the radio in postgame, and he talked about, I can do other things. Like the three-point shot is kind of what he was known for last year. It's not falling right now. There was one sequence with him and Delano Banton when Banton took it right going to the far sideline on their attack. And they had Svi, they had shooters on the floor. Defense had to stay home. Lane was wide open. He hits Boucher right like a hard roll down the middle of the lane. Those are the kinds of things that, well, what's the defense going to take away? Okay, well, we're taking away the three. Well, okay, fine, then we'll take the layup. And I thought Chris he didn't kind of drift around the perimeter. He made a point of getting the ball inside.
Well, he was known for his energy. That's what got him these minutes. That's what got him his contract. And you got to go back to that and let the three, I think, be the supplemental part of your game.
Right.
But just the way this team is playing, it just makes me really excited for when OG gets back. Because it feels like, they had the injuries. They're on the West Coast. There's all these things that was kind of going against them. It feels like this is more of what we're going to be used to seeing for the rest of the season. Would you agree?
Well, I think from a defensive perspective, yes. And then offensively, OG's a guy who can get something.
Yeah.
You can throw him the ball and he can just get something. But he also doesn't detract from what you're trying to do offensively in terms of ball movement, getting everybody involved.
Right.
So to your point, I think it doesn't stay at this level. I think the defense gets better when OG's back in the lineup, and so does your offense. And when you look at some of the games they lost, you could see the impact of not having OG on the floor. On both ends of the floor. So when he's back in there, it's going to be a better team because he impacts the game on both sides of the ball.
And I think also there's going to be a period of adjustment again.
Yes,
right?
I was going to say
it feels like
caution.
The team has to stay healthy, but it just seems like every time a big piece comes back, the guys that are playing some significant minutes off the bench have to adjust again. They bump down a spot or two. 10 minutes are off their playing time. So you're going to have to get back that rhythm and just get adjusted to him back in the lineup and everything that he brings to the table.
He's a little bit easier, though, to adjust to because of the way he plays, right?
Well, he's an unselfish player on the offensive end. He's a solid offensive rebounder. He can score on the inside. Those are simple things to do. And as Jevohn talked about, in the adjustment phase, we might see him trying to do more of that stuff. And then you go down to the other end, and defensively, it's about locking your man down and being part of a 5-man unit defensively. OG's always had that. He came into the league doing that and being a catch-and-shoot guy because he came in when they had DeMar, Kyle, JV. There were a lot of mouths to feed, and he was like, okay, I'll wait for what's left.
I would just say this. I mean, there's always an adjustment. But with OG, it's going to be, I feel, significantly less for two reasons. Number one, this team is better when they play up and down.
Yeah.
How do you play up and down? You create turnovers, you get stops, you push it and run. OG is an individual stopper. He can get stops, he can handle the ball, he can go out and transition. The other thing is if you're not grinding in the half court, then you're not really taking away from anybody, right? So there's going to be an adjustment phase for sure, but it's not going to be this big adjustment because OG impacts the game and really reinvigorates the style they want to play with, which is transition.
Yeah. We'll switch gears a little bit. It's December 5th, and every year on December 5th, the Raptors play what's known as the Giants of Africa game, celebrating the life and legacy of Nelson Mandela. Jonesy, when you hear that name, what do you think of?
I think of a man that took the high road when you think of what his life was and what happened in his life. And then came out and did nothing to say, oh, look at me, this was wrong. He moved past it. He took the high road. He brought a country together through sports, and he saw the value of athletics and sports to bring people together. The stuff that he did with rugby and the way he preached that. And it's fitting that here we are celebrating his name in a sporting venue.
Yeah.
It's funny, I still remember being in elementary school and he was doing a tour and it was at the Sky Dome. Had a speech here, and I just remember that day just feeling at peace, at one. Like I was so young, I didn't understand what was going on at the time, but when you heard his message, and then, at that point I was young, you go back and research and so much that he'd done for, us as a people. I hate home, and just being here and celebrating this game again, it really sunk in today.
Sure.
You asked, what does that name mean? Well, when you talk about Nelson Mandela, you're talking about greatness wrapped in humility and humbleness. And that man impacted the world. And ultimately what he did was he took away the power that the outside world created about the negativity about the continent of Africa. The continent has been maligned, it's been treated unfairly, it's been talked about in negative ways for decades, for centuries. Well, Nelson Mandela shone a light on Africa and said, we are not what you're trying to make us out to be. And we're not going to kick you and fight you like that. We're going to show you love. Totally rocked the world. And to me, that man is one of the greatest human beings to ever walk the face of this earth in terms of his impact, the love that he showed to everybody, and the way that he spread his message. Listen, you're incarcerated for that long, and wrongly incarcerated, you have every right to come out and try to destroy everything in your path.
And he didn't.
He didn't do that. I don't know how many human beings could have done that.
It makes me reflect back to long before his time when Martin Luther King said, only love can conquer hate. You can't fight that fire with this fire. You need to do it a different way. And a guy like Mandela takes that at that level and says, I'm going to show you how we do it.
And to have a guy like Masai carry on, make sure that tradition of his values does not get lost and forgotten. I think it's amazing to have him part of the organization.
And it's interesting because everything Nelson Mandela preaches, you can tell Masai takes it to heart. Like it's a part of his fibers. And he doesn't do this because it's something to do. He does it because he believed in the message of Nelson Mandela. And he wants to keep the man's spirit, his word alive. And I think, I tip my hat to Masai because it's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But it's a necessary...
In addition to running a team.
But it's a necessary undertaking, and I commend him because he's doing a great job with it.
We could talk all night about this. It's great to have you guys on the show, and I really appreciate you doing that and help share that message to the people watching at home. But unfortunately, we have to stop you there. Next game for the Raptors, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, back here at Scotiabank Arena. We will see you then.